Okay, back to the topic of shopping trends. We have the right authority to speak on this, which is the country manager of Adyen Malaysia, Yean in the studio with me this morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, first let's talk about the trend of consumers. We have the highest adoption rate of mobile wallets compared to other countries, and based on the survey of Adyen that you made, few payment methods were chosen by Malaysian consumers, with top two are e-wallets and QR codes. Perhaps in the future, if you look forward, what should be the changes that you foresee, and perhaps what could be the factors that can make these changes?
Actually, there is a few factors that we've seen over the past few years, right? Why this preference has been chosen, mainly because the mobile phone has become part of our life. That anything that has to do with mobile phone is a convenience to us. There's a trust with that. So after the pandemic, we've seen more adoption. We've seen people wanting to go cashless. So these are the trends that's actually driving some of these payment methods or way of payment to be adopted. For now, as a consumer myself, right, I don't see that could change. But again, never say never, right? Trends always change. What we always advise our businesses is that to be ready to offer that kind of flexibility whenever a different payment method is preferred. Again, your presentation earlier talks about the Gen Z, Gen Y having different kind of preference. So there's actually no one-size-fits-all kind of situation here. And what businesses need to be is to be very flexible, ready to change, ready to offer the preferred payment methods wherever the customers are shopping with them, whether it's online or is it into the store or even social media.
But adoption is one thing, but right now we see the rise of bombardments of a lot of platforms. But right now, do you see that all these consumers prefer to have a seamless platform, or they will go towards a platform that offers many rewards?
Both points are pretty important in a way, mainly because they are important in the different parts of the whole sales cycle, the whole engagement cycle of a business with a consumer. When you talk about what customers are looking for when they start shopping around, loyalty nowadays are really hard to get because they know there is always a better offer somewhere else. So again, offering the right promotions and the right loyalty to points and also whatever the consumers are looking for is important first step to actually engage them to come into your business, the retailers to be able to say, okay, I want to buy this product. And the next thing is when they have decided that they will shop with this retailer, that experience of checking out is also very important, mainly because if they had to wait 5 minutes for a staff to update a promotion or give the discount and have them sign a disclaimer form and all, that is actually not a very nice experience. So they might go through the hassle of wanting that promotion, but on the next purchase, they will actually have second thoughts. So again, consumers and also retailers, they actually consider these two factors. They actually balance it. They look at businesses who are actually offering them the best offers. At the same time, businesses who are actually able to understand them, personalize it, and also make sure that the experience of checking out is as seamless as possible. And when we say seamless, again, it's not about one experience, right? It could be many. For example, searching for the product online and then buying it in store, or actually going to the store, but the stock is not available. Can they immediately buy it online and have it delivered to their house? So again, these are very different shopper journeys, and every business actually needs to strive to understand how their consumers prefer to shop with them and offer it to them in a very seamless way.
Basically, it lies on personal experience and preference as well. Right. As for myself, I had that experience where I want the reward, that shipping free or stuff, but I had to find the specific coupon codes somewhere. But that's the challenges. But perhaps maybe you could share on why millennials prefer to shop online and specifically on social media platforms, and how does this apply implications towards businesses?
So maybe a few points here. The millennials, as they went through the whole cycle of starting off without the internet and then coming in, then social media came along. It has become part of I myself is a millennial, so it has become part of our life. There's a very high level of trust there, and there is a very high level of familiarity of using those platforms. So it's no surprise when more services are offered through the social platforms that we will be more than happy to try it out. So again, that is only one segment of all the different customer demographics, right? Again, businesses, I can't stop repeating this point, which is businesses really need to be able to understand where their customers are coming from, the age group, what their preferences are, and be ready to offer it. And sometimes these are trends, and trends do change. And when that change, are these retailers and businesses ready to embrace that change as well?
You mentioned about trust earlier, but are you saying in a way that we millennials are less scared or less wary about cyber threats online?
Cyber threat is, I believe most consumers are concerned about it. A lot of us have experienced that before, somehow in some way or another. But again, because of the familiarity of it, the awareness of it, we do grow out of it. I believe the strength of trusting a platform versus the strength of external forces like fraudsters trying to come and make do the cyber attacks and also raise cyber security issues is that it's always about user awareness. Not so much the technology is important to make sure that these things don't happen, but again, at the end of the day, there's so much social engineering now in the market that no matter how good a system is, if the consumers are not careful and they're not aware of it, they could actually fall trap to it. So again, we continue to progress. The loyalty to that platform is so strong that we would actually learn and embrace it and also be more aware around how cyber attacks could happen.
But speaking of technology, we're right now on a fast pace of technological advancements, and we have right now perhaps we have TikTok Shop, but in the future we don't know what may be coming in the future. So what strategies should Malaysian retails be prepared to adopt and also in line with these evolving customer preferences and also the context of social commerce itself?
Yeah. So I think the context will be more than just social commerce, mainly because the keyword here is be where your customers are, be flexible, and offer them what they expect to see. So when we talk about flexibility and also offering, that is relating to personalization. As much as we say that social commerce is on the rise, TikTok Shop is now very popular and a lot of consumers are shopping through it, it doesn't mean that the business in the brick and mortar or their e-commerce website or their mobile apps is not important. All of them are equally important in the way that because as a business, you engage them as one single brand with one single experience. So it doesn't matter whether the customer is coming in through your store or coming in through your website or even social commerce. What businesses need to do is really be focused on providing a consistent experience to them. Take, for example, if it's really fast for me to set up a store in a social commerce website, social commerce platform. But can I actually also make sure that my system support it, whereby the same loyalty program can be used, the same points can be used to redeem the purchase? These are questions whereby we say, are all your channels actually connected together on the back end to make sure that they are talking to each other? If not, it will end up being a very siloed omni-channel. We call it omni-channel because the business has a sales channel in all these different platforms, whether it's in the store, in the e-commerce or at the social commerce, but they are not talking to each other. So at the end of the day, that introduces a lot of inconsistency. But take, for example, if I were to purchase something online, I realize that the shoe size is wrong, I could actually return it through the online channel as well, whereby they will arrange for somebody to collect it. But I have the risk of maybe exchanging for something that is still the wrong size or the wrong design. I would prefer to return it in the store and exchange it in the store. Can that be done? Some businesses do, some don't. I think the main reason why they don't is because the systems are not connected and different teams are handling. So again, for businesses, what they really need to embrace is to make sure that all their systems are talking together. so that they can give that very consistent experience to the customer. And having said that, the other part I mentioned about personalization is you can't personalize a experience for a customer if you don't recognize them when they come in from different channels. So, for example, some loyalty programs can only be used in the store and not online, or maybe online and not in the store. That causes a bit of a loyalty issue, right? Whereby as a consumer, I want to be recognized the moment I walk into the store or the moment I log into the website. And I want to be able to see all the vouchers and all the discounts that I'm given and be able to use it in all these channels.
And maybe you can share a little bit more on the percentage of consumers' loyalty towards retailers who offer direct purchases via social media, and why is seamless omni-channel experience is crucial for fostering customer loyalty.
So what I can share is on the business side, what we have seen, businesses who actually started selling on social commerce actually saw a more than one-third increase in their revenue. So there is interrelation. When we say the one-third increase in revenue doesn't necessarily happen within just social commerce, but holistically over the whole business. So this channel is actually helping the whole business rather than saying that, hey, this is an individual champion that has been bringing in new sales. But in order to engage the customer, you open up a new channel whereby you know a lot of your potential customers are. It could be helping to drive customers into the store, or maybe while they are standing in the LRT, while waiting to reach their destination, and they started using mobile app to start surfing and shopping, and they remember what they saw on the social media platform. So again, they are interrelated, and in a way, social media channel probably is the latest hype, right? But what if there are new channels in the future? I mean, like Metaverse or any other new channels whereby they can engage customers, right? Will the businesses be ready? And will the businesses be able to offer the same kind of experience when they go into all these new channels? So that is the main question for most of the retailers.
And earlier, based on the presentation earlier, it says that 73% of social media has helped Malaysian retailers. And how does enabling social commerce has helped the revenue growth of a Malaysian business so far?
So what we've seen is when they offer the social media channel, they are actually engaging potentially some of the higher spend, the newer generation consumers, who are also higher spend consumers, and also pushing them in order to spend with them. So again, the normal channels could be serving certain generations, right? And the new generations are basically coming in more into social media side. So again, to stay relevant, if a certain retailer see that their new potential clients or consumers actually coming from different channels are engaging a lot, they have to depend on the data that they can see, then investing into it would make sense. So again, it's not 100% it will work, but from the statistics, it does show that when they invested into enabling another channel on the social media side, that has actually helped to increase the bottom line in terms of revenue.
But with all this data and all these trends, one thing for sure is that business can garner is about big data, and this can further strengthen their back end. Yes. So how have this technology that they have or that Adyen have help them to integrate the system and manage inventory in real time?
Maybe a bit of history about big data. Right? 10, 15 years ago, it was a very big buzzword. Everybody was talking about big data, about making sure that they leverage on the data they have in their company to make better decisions. But the main challenge that most of these businesses had last time was their systems were not talking to each other. Or the consistency of the data that they are collecting from different systems were not able to be matched. And that doesn't help with making decisions or leveraging on big data. So fast forward 10, 15 years, this has changed a lot. A lot of businesses are actually having good big data within their company. And again, a lot of enterprise solutions are making sure that they are in this by helping the businesses to make sure that all the data is consistent. Doesn't change for Adyen. We are a payments company, and we realize that we too need to be part of that ecosystem to make sure that we are providing a consistent set of data to the company's overall data warehouse. So Adyen is a single stack solution. What happens is we offer payments online, offline, whether it's mobile or social commerce. It is all coming from the same platform. When we say same platform, it was all built in-house by the same team and within the same solution. So consistently, when I log into a Adyen portal, I am able to see my payments, whether they come from any of the store or coming from my website or different sales channel, all within the same page. And what that means is I'm also able to push those data in a very consistent way back to my company's data warehouse to contribute to the big data. That's very important. A lot of times, companies look at payments as a commodity. They'll just apply for a payment terminal, make sure that it accepts the payment, and that's it. But there is so much of a rich data in there that can contribute to their overall customer sales data, and also the invoices and the warehouse inventory, to basically tell them a clearer picture of what they need to do.
We talk about big data, we talked about technology, but for businesses, especially the medium and small businesses, their main concern is, of course, cash and also investments. So how do businesses strike a balance between starting their first investment into the system and ensuring it translated into a bottom line within the same year or certain period? So how do we convince them?
That's a very good question, mainly because at a different stage of a business growth, there are different requirements. Let's say if I were to start a shop selling clothes, my focus will be to make sure that I'm giving the best customer service and the best quality clothes. I will be the finance manager. I will be having all the Excel files. I will be monitoring the staff. It's easy. But the moment I say the business is good, I'm going to open a second store, a third store, a fourth store. That is when the question of scalability comes in. Am I able to replicate what I do in the next store with the next manager? We are just different human, right? And also, I'm the business owner, but I'm not. The other person is actually just hired to run the store. So again, this is where systems come in, right? Because a lot of times when we start off everything hands-on, manually. But once we go into a much more complex situation whereby we are expanding to more shopping malls, to different regions or to different countries, then in a way we would need to start thinking about what does the system does which could replicate what I've been doing, right? How can it help me in terms of making sure that I keep the consistent experience, I keep the consistent operational processes in each of these stores. So again, this is at different stages, SMEs should think about what's important to them. It's not necessary for them to invest a lot into solutions and system, but also, like, for example, the implementation of e-invoice also would push them to think about cashier systems at least being online and also fully system run rather than manual run. So a lot of factors, but again, focus on what they need to do. But when it comes to growing, then the question is, are you ready to grow? Do you have the right solution to basically grow sustainably without hitting any issues, for example, inconsistency in service or offering?
And we're now still on SME or MSME, and we know they're backbone of our economy and also the biggest contributor to our GDP. And we've seen that these SMEs, the adoption rate of QR payments have risen. And what do you see, and how do you see the trend for small businesses to move into other different payment methods, and perhaps using this data to strengthen their back end? Yes. What's the trend do you foresee?
Okay, so maybe we talk about the current trend, how SMEs have already started embracing QR codes, right? That was mainly because they start seeing the benefit of checking out faster, as well as cash management. Right? That's the most basic thing when I think about how SMEs would consider using a QR code. What are the other factors that would determine what kind of payment methods they accept in the future, right? It's really consumer driven, it's really market driven, and also it's really driven by how the government would push for it. Right? There's three players in the market. One is the government that sets the stage. And then the businesses, whereby they say, hey, can I do the cost-benefit analysis, right? There is a cost to accepting a credit card. There is a cost to accepting a certain payment method. But also, there is a cost to managing the cash, or there is a cost to leakage of sales, whereby the money received versus the goods sold will not doesn't tally, right? So all these comes into play. And the other thing is, how often does a consumer ask, hey, do you have this wallet? Do you have that wallet, right? That actually drives the whole ecosystem to think about what would be the next thing that the SMEs need to accept as a payment method.
But what are the potential risks? Earlier I mentioned about cyber security threats, but perhaps what are the potential risks, and how can these players mitigate these risks, and perhaps are there laws to mitigate these risks fairly between the players and also consumers at the same time?
So I can speak from experience of working with customers that we have, right? It's not a very simple answer to it. On one side, as a business, I want to accept as many sales as I can. On the other side, if I make it really easy, let's say I have a website and I want to make it really easy for people to buy. But on the other side, it could be that, the return policy causes me to lose money, or maybe the bank started contacting me and say, hey, the card holder is disputing this transaction, something we call chargebacks. Chargebacks is in a situation whereby the transaction is already paid, I've already delivered the goods, but the customer actually go to the bank and say that, hey, the product is not what I expected, or maybe they would say, hey, this is fraud, I have never authorized this transaction. You lose the goods and you lose the money, right? So again, if businesses were to, from this experience, businesses were to say, hey, okay, then I must have a more stringent process to make sure that I safeguard my business. That, in a way, also impacts the customer experience when we talk about seamless kind of a checkout experience. So it's about finding that balance. And also, the whole experience of disputing the transaction with the bank, I need to provide maybe a DHL delivery proof that this person has received the goods and all. It's very tedious, and it's also, from an operational point of view, it's really hard to handle. So the goal is to make sure that when a customer comes to your store or into your website, it's important to recognize them if they are a loyal customer, a returning customer. At the same time, having proper risk management systems that, for example, Adyen built for a lot of our enterprise customers to basically fend off the bad actors as well.
Perhaps just a quick one. Like from the report that I presented earlier, TikTok Shop dominated the whole other platforms, but just because it's a shoppertainment. So do you foresee in the future that we have a lot more shoppertainment after this? Maybe you have X Shop or perhaps Instagram Shop after this?
I believe most of the social media platform is already looking into how they can engage customer more. They are all basically trying to get more screen time from each of the consumer, each of the users, right? I would say never, right? Again, like, the trends are driven by how consumers react to it and how consumers start seeing that there's a convenience, there is a loyalty, there's a seamless experience. These are all important to us as a consumer, right? So whichever platform that does it well and works with the right solution could potentially, could potentially be the new social media platform that is actually getting a lot of online transactions as well.